Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is here! Hello, my friends. Today we are, of course, talking about Smash. And guess what? We got Ridley! Hell yeah! But, as positive as the news is, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that kind of wish there was even more newcomers in Smash. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Specifically, we're going to be talking about first-party characters for Smash, and in another video, we'll do third-party characters for Smash. Whether they come as DLC for this Smash, or if it's even in a future Smash later down the line. Either way, we're just going to have some fun with the good old wish list. Alrighty, first up on my list is Tethu from Ever Oasis. If you haven't heard of the game Ever Oasis, I don't blame you, because frankly it was buried under the hype of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And obviously, nothing's going to outshine that game. But yeah, back during the E3 where Zelda was unveiled, a little game known as Ever Oasis was also unveiled. It's a new IP for Nintendo, and it's pretty damn good. I'm playing it right now, and I think about 2/3 of the way through the game, and I've been able to see a really good moveset for him. For example, his regular special, the B button special, would be the Green Gale. His up special could either be him riding that Green Gale, or he could have the Scarab Beetle carry him. Also, his forward B would be to plant one of those bomb balloons that you see in the game, and he could also have the Green Gale be able to push that bomb as well. It would work a lot like the Claymore mine that Solid Snake used to use. So, he'd be somewhat of a trap type character. Also, his down B would be to grow a bloom booth, and it would kind of work like the Animal Crossing character's tree thing that he does, and that it would be multifaceted. So once you put the seed in for the bloom booth, your down B would then become the rain thing that he uses, the duodem thing, which would allow him to make the floor slippery, and then enemies would trip up and fall. And of course, once you actually grow the bloom booth, it would then become this giant thing that would smash any nearby opponents away. As for his regular attacks, his non-special moves, he would not only have access to a sword, but he'd also have access to magical wands and stuff, and a boomerang type weapon that he uses called a Whirlybud. So he's got all sorts of things at his disposal for this potential moveset. And also there can be other types of things incorporated into his moveset as well, because there are other ceiling type characters within his game that he could, if they felt the need to borrow from. Though, as I just pointed out, he doesn't even really need to do that because he's got plenty of things already going for him. His super move, his Smash Ball move, whatever you want to call it, super move would probably be having the tree at his village appear, and then he throw a huge rainbow attack out at everyone. Or alternatively, another Smash move, super move, would be for him to call on his entire village to actually come in and attack. So that would be cool. Because Tethu's a chief. He's a chief of a village. That's where the whole Animal Crossing aspect comes in. Though, if I'm being frank, I much more enjoy the Zelda aspects of the game more than the Animal Crossing aspects. We'll do a review of Ever Oasis at some point, and I also want to do a video or two talking about the Egyptian culture that can be seen in Ever Oasis. And if you're new to my channel, I usually do educational type videos, usually about Africa, and I will relate them to video games and even superheroes. This video is not going to be the most educational video I've ever made. It's more so just a straight up let's talk about Smash Bros type thing. But yeah, if you're enjoying this episode, I do hope that you check out my more educational content. Now, speaking of the whole Egyptian aspect. That's pretty dang cool. Though I do hope if they ever make a sequel that maybe the creators might look towards other parts of Africa that are less well known about to the West and to Japan, and like maybe make the sequel inspired by Burkina Faso, for example. I'm not so sure why I'm so locked on to the idea of them going with Burkina Faso, but there's a lot of great potential there. Anyway, since we are talking about Africa now, I do want to mention that Tethu is a black main character. We don't get that in video games every day, as I'm sure you've probably noticed. There's definitely a huge lack of main characters in not just Nintendo, but in the video game industry in general, who are black. And there's a lot of other cultures that cultures and races that are definitely underrepresented in video games as well. But yeah, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I think Tethu is like arguably the only main character who's a black person in a Nintendo game, other than the very last person I'm going to mention on this list, because that character, you could argue who is the main character, but you'll see what I mean when we get to that character. Anyway, Tethu would add a much needed diversity to the Smash Bros. Roster. And yes, I know you can play as Pikachu, you can play as Kirby, you can play as all sorts of diverse characters, but when I say diversity, I mean like racial diversity, in terms of the human characters of Smash. So yeah, Tethu should totally be in Smash. I would love to see him in there. I'm definitely enjoying his game right now, Ever Oasis, and I would really love to be able to play as him in Smash Bros. As well. Let's move on to another new IP from Nintendo, which is ARMS. Now, the obvious choice for ARMS would be, what was his name? Springman. I haven't actually played ARMS myself. I should probably mention that. There's a few games I haven't played that I'll be mentioning. Anyway, yeah. ARMS' main character is a dude named Springman. Does anyone actually give a shit about Springman? I don't really think they do. I've actually been checking out some other people's opinions of who they want in Smash from ARMS. Most people are saying that they want Twintelle, and I'd be cool with that. Twintelle looks like a really cool character, though one other possibility that I think would be great is this other guy called Misango, and he's inspired by Mesoamerican culture, and I think that's another culture that's underrepresented in video games in general. So I think Misango would be a really cool choice for ARMS. So yeah, certainly a possibility. Though if Twintelle were to make it in, I wouldn't complain either. That'd be a good choice. Basically, let's just, as long as we don't have the milquetoast character that is Springman. And yeah, you'll probably notice that I'm not necessarily just going to go with main characters just because, like, oh, we got to always go with main characters for a roster. No, not necessarily. We can definitely deviate from that, at least on my list. And this is my list. I'm just making choices. You're welcome to disagree with my choices in the comments below. Now that I think about it, we could actually have both characters from ARMS on the list, because one of them can be an echo character of the other. And speaking of echo characters, the Octoling should probably be in there as an echo character of the Inkling. Now, on to Zelda! Who do we want as new representatives for Zelda? Okay, so we already got Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, and Toon Link. So, the three biggest Zelda characters I want them to add in is 1, Impa. Impa specifically, Skyward Sword's version of Impa. Impa would be a really cool character to have in there. That was my favorite version of her. There's many different versions out there, of course, but I think that one nailed Impa's character the best. And as for movesets, I feel like you can take a number of things from Skyward Sword to make into her moveset, but if they want, they could also take some stuff from Hyrule Warriors. Hyrule Warriors, one of the very, very, very few Zelda games I haven't played. I've basically played every goddamn Zelda game, including Zelda 2. But yes, if they want to take some stuff from Hyrule Warriors for Impa's moveset, I'd be fine with that. Specifically, instead of using that giant sword that they usually show her with in Hyrule Warriors, I would prefer them to use the Naginata weapon, which is a Japanese spear type weapon. That would be really cool. I think that fits her character better than a sword. Next character that I think really deserves to be in there is Skull Kid. Skull Kid from Majora's Mask. Yes, I know, my Majora's Mask is missing its horns. Long story, we're not getting into that today. Anyway, Skull Kid is from my favorite game of all time, which is Majora's Mask, and he could have all sorts of cool magical powers, and I would love to see him represented in Smash. By the way, you might note that Skull Kid is an assist trophy in the previous game, and for every character I mentioned that used to be an assist trophy, I'm going to recommend a replacement character for the assist trophy thing. So I'm going to go ahead and say that to replace his old assist trophy, since he's now becoming a full-fledged character, should be the kids from Marvelous Another Treasure Island. If you haven't heard of that, it's because you never even came out in America. It was a Japan-only game that was the first game of the guy who created Majora's Mask and is now creating all the other Zelda games these days. The fuck is his name again? Eiji Aonuma. See, I remembered his name eventually. Next character, Urbosa from Breath of the Wild. Urbosa, I think, was the most standout of the four Guardians, at least in my opinion. Really cool character. I've always liked the Gerudo. And back when the Ocarina of Time days, Nabooru was the standout sage of the seven sages, in my opinion. And for a long time, I thought Nabooru would be a cool character to have in Smash. But now that we have Urbosa, I'm thinking, yeah, let's go with Urbosa. She's the spiritual successor of Nabooru. Plus, Urbosa has lightning powers, so it would be pretty cool. I think she would be great for Smash. Next Zelda character would be Toon Ganondorf. Yep, we got Toon Link, so why not Toon Ganondorf, right? And Toon Ganondorf would, of course, have his own special moves that are different from the regular Ganondorf. So it wouldn't just be some kind of clone character. Basically taking from the Wind Waker, and you know where I'm going with that. Because none of us Smash fans really like to have clone characters. We like to see unique movesets. Though, if there was some moves that were similar, I mean, I wouldn't be too mad about it, since they are both Ganondorf. And obviously, I mean, Toon Link is mostly the same from regular Link. There's some differences, though. And we're going to get to Ganondorf's old moveset a little later down this list. Next character, since I mentioned Toon Ganondorf, of course, I'd also like to see Tetra in there. Tetra would be awesome. We already got ninjas in Smash. Why not have pirates, right? That's like a classic mix-up sort of thing. People like to see pirates and ninjas and all that. So it would be really cool, and she could have her own unique moveset. I want one of her moves to be using that cannon that she uses. No, it's not a cannon. It's not a cannon. It's that thing. That thing that like launches Link from that barrel. You know the scene I'm talking about. That scene was hilarious. Anyway, I'd love to see that as incorporated into her moveset somehow. Next character we have is you're gonna think I'm crazy, but the Deku Butler. I love the Deku, and the Deku Butler is definitely one of my faves. He could take a lot of his moveset from Majora's Mask's Deku form, you know, and there might need to be some inventing for some of his moves, but there's definitely enough source material there to make up a moveset for him. But yeah, the Deku are awesome. Next character, another character that's gonna surprise some people. Dampé. Yes, Dampé the Gravekeeper, the original Shovel Knight. You don't know, he could be a knight. You don't know. You don't know what's in Dampé's past. But yeah, I think it would be hilarious. And I've actually even said in the past that it'd be kind of fun if there was a side Zelda game called The Legend of Dampé. I know that's never going to happen, but it'd be fun. Right, we're switching to Mario now. So I just listed off a bunch of Zelda characters. Now we're going into Mario. And yeah, this isn't the most original choice in the world, but yeah, Waluigi. A lot of people want to see him. I want him to be like absolutely ridiculous. Just have his moveset be the most bizarre, random references to like Mario Party type things and maybe Mario Sports type things that you can think of, and just make him really strange. Have his super move be like a version of that super move that Luigi had in Brawl, because that would suit Waluigi pretty well. Strange guy. Oh yeah, right. To replace Waluigi's assist trophy, we would have the main character from Geist, which is a little known game, one of Nintendo's very few M-rated games, which was for the GameCube. And in that game, you played as a ghost who could possess objects and people. Does that sound familiar? Maybe it sounds a bit like Cappy. I think when Nintendo was making Cappy, there was probably someone at Nintendo that was like, hey, you remember that game Geist? And someone was like, oh yeah, that had some pretty neat mechanics. Too bad nobody cared about the game. Let's integrate it into Mario. But anyway, who knows? I could be wrong on that. Next character, Berto. Not everyone knows this, but Berto is actually one of the gaming industry's first transgender characters. And in general, there's actually very few characters representing the LGBTQ community in video games. So, I think Berto would be a great addition to Smash. Moving on to the Mario RPG series, Cammy Koopa I think would be pretty cool. Cammy Koopa would also be the only old lady in Smash. Age diversity is a thing that would be good to have in a Smash Bros. Game. I don't think there are any old people at all that are playable in Smash Bros. So I would like to see Cammy Koopa because she was just a really fun character in the Paper Mario series. Plus, I loved watching Luca Jin voice her. I don't know if you know who Luca Jin is, a YouTube gamer, but yeah, the Mario RPG series is really great, especially Thousand Year Door. The newer ones I don't really care about, but the older Paper Mario games were great. Another Mario RPG type character they could use is a character from the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which is Fawful. Now, I've played more of the Paper Mario series than I have of the Mario and Luigi series, but he was in that first one that I played, which was on the GBA. Yes, I'm pretty sure, GBA. But yeah, Fawful has this really, like, iconic kind of gibberish in how he talks. Really fun character. He's a good villain character. We need more villains in Smash, as many people have pointed out. Cammy Koopa also checks off that box in terms of villains. So yeah, I would like to see Fawful in there. Alright, let's get into Metroid. We finally got Ridley. They used to say he's too big for Smash, but apparently that's not true anymore. They gave him a size that works for the game. And you know what? Another character that I bet no one thinks would work for Smash, but I think could, is Kraid. Hell yeah, let's get Kraid in there. He's generally gigantic, even bigger than Ridley, but in the very first NES game, he was about the size of Samus and, of course, also Ridley as well. And a lot of people don't remember this, but there was this one part in Super Metroid where there was like a tiny version of Kraid. Let me know in the comments if you remember that one. And two other Metroid characters that we could possibly see is Silex, who was prominent in Metroid Prime Hunters and was teased at the end of Metroid Prime 3. And Rundus, who I actually kind of like Rundus more than Silex. He's got this cool Iceman kind of vibe going on. Alright, so that's my Metroid picks. So let's go on to another major franchise of Nintendo, which is Pokemon. Now, they already got tons of Pokemon in Smash, so I'm only going to name two. One that was a childhood favorite of mine, Psyduck. Loved Psyduck when I was a kid. Really fun character. Really silly character. And I'd just love to see him in there. So, little childhood me would be happy to see Psyduck in Smash. Another character I thought of that would be good for Smash. One of the new characters is this character called Tapu Koko. He's from the Pokemon game that takes place in Hawaii, and when I saw him, I was like, I wonder if he's inspired by one of those Hawaiian feather gods. And sure enough, that seems to be the case. So that's cool that they actually took some inspiration from Hawaiian culture to create this character, Tapu Koko. And yeah, he'd be a really great addition to Smash, I think. And he's not the only Pokemon that's inspired by other cultures. There are some others. But yeah, I think that would be a good choice since he was very prominent in that newest game and he's from the newest Pokemon game. So that would be the one to go with. Of course, another major franchise of Nintendo is Donkey Kong. A lot of people want to see King K. Rool in there, but personally, I would much rather see Cranky Kong. Cranky Kong is a great character, and if you don't know this, apparently according to the lore, he was the original Donkey Kong from the old arcade game. So, for that reason and many others, let's get the old timer in Smash. Alright, let's talk about a lesser known video game from Nintendo. I would like to see the entire cast of Eternal Darkness as a singular character put into Smash Bros. That would be cool. How would that work? They would sort of like meld into each other and like turn into different characters on the fly depending on what move you're doing. If you don't know, Eternal Darkness is all about freaking you the hell out. It's all about like Cthulhian monsters and stuff like that. So while you're playing this character, it should look weird. Something really off should be happening. Especially if they put an Eternal Darkness background. That thing should really mess with players' heads. It would be awesome. Another character from a video game that no one remembers, though to some extent people are starting to remember more nowadays, is Takamaru from the mysterious Murasame Castle. This would be a cool samurai type character to have on the roster. They still don't have a character that has a katana in Smash Bros. So I think it would be a great addition. And to replace his assist trophy, I would suggest this character from a very, very obscure game called Nintendoji. Something like that. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that quite right. This is a game that was on the, I think, DS or DSi. It was like something that you would have to be like part of the Nintendo fan club thing to be able to get. It only came out in Japan. Like, almost no one has any recollection of it. I kind of remember hearing about it in the news once, either in a gaming magazine or like it was on a website or something. I can't remember exactly, but for whatever reason, I remembered the game, and the character uses those little talismans, those paper talismans that you see in Japanese animes and stuff. Anyway, it'd be a good assist trophy to have in there. Earlier, I was talking about Ganondorf. I was saying that we should have Toon Ganondorf in there, and we should have his own kind of moveset. You might be thinking, hey, what about OG Ganondorf, the original Ganondorf that we have in Smash? He's historically had a similar moveset to Captain Falcon, and I, like many others, would like to see that change, and I would like Ganondorf to have his own specific moveset that works for him. But I don't want them to necessarily lose that moveset that many people have come accustomed to. So, to alleviate that, I think Black Shadow from the F-Zero games should adopt that moveset so that people can still enjoy that moveset on a character that would make more sense for the moveset. Plus, Black Shadow kind of looks like Batman, and my friend Josh, who mains Ganondorf, would probably approve of Black Shadow. There's two other characters I did kind of consider for that moveset as well, and those would be Captain Rainbow and Mac Rider. But Black Shadow is probably the best option, I think. Mac Rider, by the way, interesting thing I learned while making the Smash list. Mac Rider is older than Mario. That's fucking crazy, right? Mac Rider apparently started off as a toy in the 1970s. And then later on became a video game. So yeah, Mac Rider is older than Mario. And supposedly there's some people who are debating as to whether Mac Rider is even a man, because Mac Rider might be a woman. I'll show you the picture on screen. But yeah, that's still up for debate, I think. But what's not up for debate is that he's definitely older than Mario. It's pretty mind-blowing. Next character for the roster pick would be Mr. Sandman. Mr. Sandman is a reoccurring character from the Punch-Out series. And obviously we're not going to get Mike Tyson in Smash Bros. That would be ridiculous. So I would say Mr. Sandman would be the best bet for another Punch-Out character. Okay, so some cutesy type characters we could have thrown in there would be Chibi Robo. Chibi Robo is a character who was in a GameCube game that is supposedly like this cult classic. It looks pretty interesting. I unfortunately never got a chance to play it, but I would certainly like to. And that character has been revived in recent years. They put him in a side-scroller, though, which is not his normal forte. But anyway, the character looks really cool. Very cutesy robot character. I like him. So that would be great for Smash. Malo from Pushmo, not Malo from Mario RPG, not that Malo. Malo from Pushmo. I think he's a neat little character. Most Smash Bros. Games have a character that's sort of a WTF kind of character. Like Smash Bros. Melee gave us Mr. Game & Watch. No one saw that coming, but obviously an awesome inclusion. Everyone loves Game & Watch now. So, the WTF character for this new Smash could be Harry from Tello Roboxer. Do you even know what that is? I don't even remember how I learned about this, but Tello Roboxer is a game for the failed Virtual Boy console, and it would be funny and interesting to see a character from that make it into Smash. Another WTF character, I think, would be Vince from Art Academy. Just because that's just a strange thing to even do. It's as like on weirdness level with the Wii Fit trainer, pretty much making it into Smash. So yeah, Vince. That'd be interesting. I would like to see that. Plus, I just like the idea of using a paintbrush in a fighting game. Another WTF character, and the one I think I'm rooting for most, Box Boy. Look at this thing. That is like the simplest design ever, but it shouldn't come as a surprise that it was created by the people who created Kirby and also Smash Bros. But yes, this is a HAL Laboratory character, which makes his chances of getting in very high, actually. So maybe we'll see Box Boy in Smash. Lord knows what the hell his moveset will be, but that would be a really funny inclusion. Another great character they could add into Smash Bros. Is Isaac from Golden Sun. At first I wasn't going to include him, but that wasn't back when I was trying to make a reasonable amount of characters on my list. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just throwing everyone in there. So Isaac from Golden Sun. Isaac actually, the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I realized that Isaac would actually be a really great character for Smash. His moveset would be awesome. He controls the earth elements. And I kind of think like he would be a great like rival to Tethu, because Tethu controls the wind and Isaac controls the earth. It would be a great battle. But yeah, Isaac from Golden Sun, let's see him in there in Smash as well. Now, as many of you know, Isaac was of course an assist trophy before, so let's say what his replacement would be. And I'm going to go with Mike from Star Tropics. Star Tropics was a very interesting game. The reason why Mike isn't in my roster as a full-fledged character is because although I like Star Trek, I almost said Star Trek, although I like Star Tropics, even though it's a frustratingly difficult game, I would love to see Star Tropics be rebooted as a new game with them taking inspiration from oceanic cultures, you know, Polynesia, Melanesia, Micronesia, and that would make it so much more interesting. Though if they do that, I don't want Mike to be the main character of it. I would rather him be like maybe an Obi-Wan type character to a new character, a character who looks like he comes from the Pacific Ocean and not someone like Mike who comes from America. Just an idea that's been rattling around in my mind for a while. But yeah, seeing Mike as an assist trophy though, that would work. Alrighty, let's move on to another character, and this one is known as Mocha from Magical Star Sign. This game I practically know nothing about, which sounds weird, but why am I even including it if I barely know anything about it? But I like the idea of promoting more RPGs in Smash Bros. And because I am a fan of RPGs. And Nintendo owns this IP called Magical Star Sign. They included this character Mocha as a trophy. And I know that Mocha is not the main character of Magical Star Sign, but clearly he must be a fan favorite if he became a trophy and not one of the other characters. And he's a neat looking robot. I'm sure he can have a great moveset, so yeah, let's throw him in there. And finally, or sort of finally, we get to the Xenoblade series. Now, most people are expecting a character from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I want a character from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles X. But let's start with Chronicles 2. Chronicles 2, now I'm a huge fan of Xenoblade and the Xeno series. Love Xenogears, love Xenoblade, love Xenoblade Chronicles X. For Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the character I want is actually not the main character. I still haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I should preface that. I played the other Xenoblades, haven't played Chronicles 2 yet. The main character looks kinda silly. I'm not digging his short shorts and his poofy, whatever the hell you call it, chaps that cover his short shorts. It's weird. It's a really weird design. I'm not a huge fan. But yeah, like, I don't think we necessarily need him to be in Smash. And as I said before, we don't always have to have a main character. Besides, we already have Shulk from the original Xenoblade, and I fucking love Shulk. Shulk was like the character I wanted for Smash. We got him, and fucking happy about that shit. You can believe that. But this new main character for the Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I don't know. Maybe once I play the game, I'll think that he's some really great stuff. But right now, don't really care. What I did notice is that they again brought back a playable Nopon. And I'm hoping he's kind of more like Ricky than Tatsu. I don't like Tatsu. Tatsu, I was kind of meh. But Ricky was awesome. And I hope this new Nopon, what is his name again? Tora. I hope this new Nopon is actually pretty cool, and I would like to see Tora be included into Smash. Now, on to Xenoblade Chronicles X. A lot of people are just writing this off as, oh, they're not going to bother with a character from Xenoblade Chronicles X because they're going to have a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 character. But I wouldn't be so sure about that because I believe in a recent interview, Monolith Soft stated that they still want to continue Xenoblade Chronicles X as a separate story as well, which is really cool. And so, if they're going to do that, they should have a Xenoblade Chronicles X representative in Smash Bros. And that should be Elma, who, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people actually, is the real main character of Xenoblade Chronicles X, which would make her the second black person in Nintendo's history to be a main character. Now again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I know Nintendo's history pretty damn well, I think. So I think I'm correct on this. That it's just Tethu and Elma that are pretty much the only black leads of Nintendo games. Anyway, yeah, Elma would be great to see in there. Now, the reason why some people would argue whether or not she is a main character is because the character you play as primarily is a character that you custom create, and then Elma guides you through the story of the game. But as you're guided through the story of the game, you realize that all the story tends to revolve around Elma, so she's the main character. It's not a hard argument to make. So, Elma and Smash, that would be awesome. And that pretty much wraps up my list of first-party Nintendo characters to be in Smash Bros. And later we're going to do third-party characters as well. Please stay tuned for that. And again, as I said earlier, I do a lot of educational type videos on this channel, so I hope you tune in for that, because I got stuff that's like about like Ganondorf, and I got stuff that's about like Majora's Mask. I got Mario type stuff, and all of those integrate educational stuff that I think you'll really love. So check those out, and we'll be making more as well. Alrighty, have a fantastic day, everyone.